Okay, so I'll be refuting the claim that women are discouraged from pursuing certain careers because of workplace inequality. So, while there is no use in denying this claim, since it is true, I aim to refute it by diminishing the advocate's secondary claims. The first claim is that women are not recognized for their hard work as much as men. The second one is that women in certain professions are paid less than men in the same profession. And the third is that gender roles such as getting married, having children, and being the stay-at-home mom are still prominent in today's society. So the first claim is that women are not recognized for their hard work as much as men. The speaker used hypotheticals with insufficient evidence to support this claim. She said that not many posters of female scientists are up on classroom walls, but did not provide any proof as to how less female scientist posters are up compared to male scientist posters. Furthermore, there are other reasons as to why women are less recognized rather than just due to their gender. For instance, a 2017 report by the academic publisher Elsevier said that less than a quarter of researchers who publish papers in the physical sciences are women. So over 75% of the research in physical sciences are published by men. So it could be that just not enough women are publishing their work to be recognized. The advocate's second claim was that women in certain professions are paid less than men in the same professions. Well, if women in certain professions are paid less if women in certain professions are paid less than men in the same profession, then women in certain professions can also be paid more than men in the same profession. Additionally, the advocate used evidence from a 2015 study saying that some women in some professions make as low as 56% of what their male counterparts make. Well, a 2017 study by Bloomberg Software Data and Media Company said that female managers in architectural and engineering jobs out-earn men and yet make up 8.5% of the population of the profession. Female chemical engineers are also paid slightly more than males in 15% of the jobs. Additionally, a 2017 study by Quartz Media found that female architectural and engineering managers enjoy the largest gap in salary, earning more than $1.04 for every dollar their male peers make. And in the instance that women are paid less than the men, there are laws in place to prevent wage discrimination based on employee sex, which the advocate did not mention. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, as of 2016, all but 2 states, Alabama and Mississippi, have laws to seek to eliminate pay differentials on the basis of sex. Many of these laws provide the employer liability for damages or provides the cause of action to sue for damages. So there would allow women to pursue further action if there was a gap in wages. Additionally, women may be paid less for more reasons other than their gender. Research by Herminia Ibarra, professor of leadership and learning at INSEAD Business School, says that studies suggest men and women network differently. Men are more likely to network upwards, whereas women are tried to network with other women. However, as there are fewer senior women, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy to stay within one's own place. So men might be networking up to higher wages, while women may be staying where they are, since they are networking only with other women. The advocate's third claim was that gender roles such as getting married, having children, and being the stay-at-home mom are still prominent in today's society. She said that women may feel that they must choose between having a family or pursuing their dream job. Well, having children and being a parent does not always damage one's career. Dr. Inez Weichert, a chartered psychologist and a member of Connexia's High Performance Institute, researches the advancement of women leaders worldwide and had recent research that suggested that being a parent had a positive impact on career progression. For mothers, women who get help with housework and childcare outside of work hours report a higher number of promotions than before. Furthermore, with the rise of feminism, gender roles are switching and are no longer as influential as before. In 2017, the Center for American Progress reported that 42% of mothers were sole or primary breadwinners, bringing in at least half of the family earnings. Nearly 1/4 of mothers, 22.4%, were co-breadwinners, bringing home from 25% to 49% of earnings for their families. Additionally, stay-at-home dads are becoming somewhat of a trend. More fathers are staying at home while more mothers are getting out of the house. Pew Research reported that 2 million U.S. fathers with children in their household were not working outside the home, and this data assumes that these dads were caregiving for their kids. So more and more women are getting previously male-dominated professions and are raising awareness on gender inequality in the workplace to encourage women rather than discourage women to pursue whichever careers they want to. Thank you.
Well, for somebody who's conceding the advocate's claim at the beginning of the speech, I thought you found a pretty effective way of responding to it on several points. That seems a little bit odd that you go ahead and say, well, yeah, it's true, but let me make some arguments anyway. That doesn't really help you very much. I think your better argument is that like you said, you're going to diminish the claim. I think the argument is that the advocate has misunderstood the relationship between gender and wages, and that there are a variety of explanations as to why these gaps exist, and it has little to do with equality in the workplace except as measured by the most arbitrary means. Then I think all of your arguments really generally do address the points that the advocate was talking about. The first point, for instance, you go right after the notion that there aren't enough women scientists who are being praised. I'm not exactly sure that the posters of the scientists in the classroom is the best way of measuring that, but your response that also suggests that there's a limited number of women in some of these fields, I think is probably worth noting. Maybe one thing that you could add to that is that the emergence of women into these fields is relatively recent. I mean, I don't know what posters you're looking at, in the classrooms. Where are you? I know you're out there somewhere. There you are. So for instance, if we got Galileo and Newton and Leonardo da Vinci on the classrooms, and we got hundreds of years of history that were dominated by men because women were largely excluded from the field. But if we were just looking at what's existed since women have entered into these fields, maybe it's not that way. I don't know. I'm just suggesting that seems like a strange standard by which to argue it. I thought your argument made a lot of sense on that particular point. The argument about wage discrepancies in the architectural, chemical, engineering fields I thought was pretty effective at demonstrating that there is a variety here about pay, and it's probably got little to do with, oh, well, you're a woman chemical engineer, so we're going to pay you $1 more for everything that you do compared to what the men do. I'm sure it's got something to do with fields of specialty or businesses having a need for people to connect with others or something like that. It's part of the job sort of thing, which supports the general argument that this is not gender issue-based stuff, but it's really occupation-based issues, which I think is the premise of most of the things that you're talking about here. I appreciated your also noting the state laws that talk about pay discrimination issues, and that there are in fact liability issues if people are found guilty of those sorts of things. And then the gender roles thing at the end, I thought, well, that seems pretty straightforward. You've got some good information here that suggests that women are not necessarily handicapped by these notions. You've got some good statistical information and a demonstration that men are often doing these things as well. So how significant is this problem? Do some women have this issue? I don't think there's much doubt that some women have this issue. The question is this a system-wide or a social system that discourages equality in the workplace? That was kind of the advocate's position, and I think you've got some good arguments here to suggest that it's not really a systemic issue so much as it is the nature of the workplace and the kinds of jobs that people have. It's not like a man versus woman sort of thing. All right, thank you.